folks. I'm gonna show off a little build I built for my Barbarian. Season 10, Diablo 4. And a season theme, or powers, if you will, or these chaos perks. And each of them offer different little benefits. And some of them are class specific. See, they got the little barbarian symbol there. So the ones that don't have anything, obviously, are for all classes. And then each class has their own specifics. So this one specifically for Barbarian, for instance, my equipped shouts are now always active with a 50% increase effect. Now this is obviously at max rank, but your maximum current fury is reduced by 20% per shout equipped. So I'm losing 60% of my fury, which down here you can see it kind of bumping around, but I also have things that generate fury in my equipment. So this one, for instance, has 6 fury per second, 6 fury per second, so now we're up to 12. Another 6, there's 18. And then that's fury on kill, so that's a little bit different. So I'm generating 18 fury per second, which should show up down here somewhere. Oh, actually I'm doing 24, so... Oh, what's all that noise going on there? So I got something else generating fury for me. Not sure what it is. Maybe it's a basic, but anyway. Maybe this is what it is. 38 point. Well, that might be what it is too. 38.1. And then fury on kill, like a 5. So I feel like stumbling around because I wasn't prepared. But anyway, so the key to this build that I have is my shouts. You can see them, they're kind of like pulsing here, is these are always active. And so what that's doing is that one of these is unstoppable. It says characters have all controlled and parried effects removed and prevented. So it means I do not get CC'd or crown controlled while I'm out doing this. You gain, while this is active, I'm gaining 30% bonus maximum life, and I gain 9 fury each time I take damage. This one is allowing me to go berserking. Now, berserking is also a good thing because it grants 25% increased damage and 15% increased movement speed. And I get fortified. So 23% of my max life is fortified. So over here, I mean, it's dropping, but watch what'll happen once we get out of town. So we're just gonna kind of, let's go for a hell tide. How much time we got left? We got 33 minutes in a hell tide. We can do something. Let's go on key over Shadge. But I'd been playing this PTR right now. Season 11 stuff going on, and they kind of like retroed some things where like for instance, like on our gear it'll say 128 armor. Now the armor is going to jump back up again, which creates what they call toughness. So right here, these stats are going to change. You're going to have toughness, and you're going to have, what did they call it? There's only like 2 stats. Toughness, and you're not going to have your life showing. So we got, excuse me. So that's going to change. And then resistances are going back to, it's kind of going back to almost how the game first started. This is how gear worked. Like gear was, armor was like, you know, might be 1,000 armor on something or 2,000 armor on something once you start getting up into your higher level stuff. And then resistance is, instead of it being like right here, 30% resistance. You might have 200 resistance to all elements. Like it'll be a base number rather than a percentage kind of thing. The other thing that makes my berserking and all that work is right here, like this aspect is I gain 9 fury per second while berserking, so I'm also going to be gaining more fury. And then while above 40 fury, I'm berserking, but I lose 2 fury per second. So that's the key to this main. That's like my main thing. No matter what I do beyond that, if I have these two things working, I'm having my fury constantly generated, and I'm getting berserking, which is damage increase. So beyond that, if you took this and put whatever else you wanted in there, because like some of this I've got, like my shouts generate 11 primary source per second, so this works with this, but probably if this mechanic wasn't in here, I probably wouldn't use this particular. Maybe, I know what I'm going to do. Most of it's like, I've got shouts create dust devils, so you're going to see some chaos going on once we get out of town. And then here, whenever I deal direct damage while berserking, I flick 33% of it as bleeding damage. So I do have like a bleed kind of build in this. My whirlwind leaves dust devils. Ground stomp creates an earthquake, so earthquake is another key thing. When there's at least 5 close enemies, I can stun them. This one can be traded out. I usually like it just because it kind of like stuns them for a second, and then if I can get a big group of them in together, a lot of stuff's going on. Gain fortified while I'm berserking. Earthquakes deal 59% increased damage, and it's converted into fire. When I cast a skill, this one can be traded out. I usually just put it on there just to keep myself up, but most of the time I don't need it. Same thing with this one. This just gives me extra armor, so not a big deal. But there are some other key aspects that we can change in and out. I created another barbarian build using the same kind of this part down here, using these skills, but I changed out some of the key aspects on there, where I still have my 2 Berserk Fury and Anger Management. Still have those 2, but I changed out where instead of doing bleeding damage, I'm not doing an overtime build. I'm doing more of a direct damage build. So I'm doing like overpowering and crit strikes and things like that. But anyway, so that being that, we're losing time on our on our hill tide. I'm just gonna mark it. We'll just walk around the hill tide. But as soon as I leave town, chaos is gonna begin. If you want to call it that, but you'll see. As soon as we walk out here, you're going to be like, oh my goodness. All this is out.
specialty.
My overpowered chances of it, but it's the increased contribution that's basically my shipping. Potions used. That's the when you start your season. Normally you start off with like 12 skill points. I'm not going to start with 12, I'm going to start with 4. Then through the season, journey, you'll have a chance to use your skills on top of it. But the tempering is going to change. And they'll have this new thing called sanctifying. So I'll show you that real quick here.
What will it
So
be?
basically, in your barbarian or your blacksmith, you're going to have tempering. So normally, when you go to do something, let's throw this one on here. I have two choices, or depending on what the piece of equipment is. I think some of them have. I don't know if it should. Your jewelry or something might have like 5 things, but anyway. Oh, give me a second, folks. Get me a drink. It's getting a little dry throats. So, anyway, so when you pick something on here, for instance, highlight over whichever one you want, and then it's going to have these 3 options or 4 options depending on what you pick. So when you hit it, it's going to randomly go one of those things, one of those options. So what they've done is now you can just go in and pick which one you want. You'll still have to roll the chance, like here on brawling damage it says 62.5 to 85%. So you'll still roll within that range, but you'll be able to pick what you want now. So you know, if you're trying to go for like a bleeding damage, for instance, where is it? Yeah, so bleeding damage. Say I want that bleeding damage. Well, rolling on this right now, currently, I could hit vulnerable, and I'd have to keep rolling until I got it. Well, what they've done now is I could just go in and say I want bleeding damage. So I can put bleeding damage on everything that allows me to, mostly, uh, let's see, as far as I know these get bleeding damage, bleeding damage, bleeding damage, bleeding damage. There's a couple things that doesn't get it, but for the most part, so it's anything that gets the offensive skill, or affix, and so on and so on. And then your masterworking, normally you rank up, like to see these little stars under here. Okay, so that's a masterwork 11 out of 12. So every 4 steps, you'd rank it up. So once you hit 4, then it goes into this thing where it, like these blue numbers on there, that's what's increasing. Like all your stats will increase, but then every 4th one, you're going to get a boost to one particular. And it could be any of those that you have on there, so it's not like only those things. So for instance, if we were up here, yellow I think is capped, so I get 232 skill, or strength added to that. So it did strength twice on me, is how that worked. Same thing with on here on the fury. It did fury twice. But I still have a chance to get it up to 8 fury. Maybe, I could be wrong on that. I don't remember reading about once it hits yellow, like you're capped. But anyway, I digress. So, the Chaos Armor. So this Chaos Armor has like this greenish, bluish, tealish color to it. So, like this for instance says Mother's Embrace. Normally that Mother's Embrace, where it says if a core skill hits 4 more enemies, that's normally on a ring called Mother's Embrace. Let me see what I can, yeah, right here, Mother's Embrace. So normally that's on a ring. So what they've done is they've taken uniques from an item and put it on armor. So like this one has, it's called Fist of Fate, Flicker Step. Yeah. So any of those go. The only issue I have with these uniques is a lot of times they don't work with the builds that you're doing. Because the other problem you'll have is it'll take away these legendary aspects that works with your build. Now I could use it to replace, you know, one of these ones that I'm not, like when I cast a skill. Normally I'm not casting skill. The only skill I'm technically casting, I guess it's casting my shouts. So if it's doing that, then I think it's working. But I'm not taking full advantage of the when I double it when I'm below 50% life, because I'm not really dropping that. So it's something that I could replace. So let's just say, for instance, I did want to get rid of that. These uniques don't have fury per second, so I would lose my fury generation on any of these. And my thought, they asked for a survey, and my thought when I did the survey is I told them, I said it'd be nice if you could pull the aspects off of a unique, even if it's just for a season, you know, to where you can pull that off and then apply it like you do a legendary and create, but let's say it has to be a legendary item before you can make it a unique item, which would, you know, still be feasible. But you could turn that into a unique item, and it would have, like this ring for instance, it would have my 230 strength, my max life, and all that, but it would have, after spending 100 fury, then I would get that, you know, unique aspect on here. So there's some unique aspects that I think are really good, but I don't want to use them. Like Razorblade I would love to use for a Thorns build. There's no fury generation, so I'd have to work around all that. But Thorns is like, if something hits you, they take damage. So it's like one of the things I have in here in my stuff over here is like, okay, I generate thorns, and then it's like, so gain 32 thorns, also gain 8 thorns for each 40 bonus max life I have. So bonus max life. But I also have increased my thorns by 6%, and when enemies hit me, they take an additional 15% of my thorns as bleed damage. So it works into my bleed build that I have. And then all the way down here, it's also when causing an enemy to bleed, I have a chance to equal my crit strike chance to increase the bleed amount by 70% and also increase by 100% of my crit strike damage bonus, overpowering a bleeding enemy, which deals bonus damage based on my current life, creates an explosion that inflicts bleeding damage over 5 seconds. And it's the one that works well with this, but if you were doing more berserk build and damage, this is the one I would recommend because its bonus is increased, and while you're not healthy, which is what I did in my other barbarian build, while I'm not healthy, so if I have healthy characters, you have more than 80% of your life. So once you drop below that 80%, you're not healthy, and I'm always berserking. I gain 30% physical damage reduction bonus. So, you know, it's funny how these builds work. It's like you gotta literally like look down and say, okay, what can work with this? How can these things? What do they call it? There's a word for it, but they sync together, I guess, or work together. There's a phrase I'm not getting in my head. I apologize. But anyway, when those two things are working together, synergy. I think maybe that's what I was thinking of. Synergy. When they have good synergy, then you know it just really increases everything. So there's people out there that come up with all this stuff. There's websites you can go to find the builds. Some of them I try and they work out really well. Some of them I try and I'm like, it doesn't to me feel like it flows. Maybe it's just because the way it's played. You know. But anyway, so probably what I'll do here is I'll log off here, get into the PTR, and then show you folks about that one. Alright. I think I'm not even going to try to restart the video. We'll just go from here and I'll let you see my desktop. So, on your BattleNet, if the public test run was only on PC, unfortunately. But once it's released, then it'll be on consoles and everything else. So we'll show you this one real quick. I know it's not a game for everybody, but I've enjoyed it since I originally played a demo of Diablo 2. And so this was the rework. I started making one and I was like, and then I tried my sorcerer. But I was like, I'm going to try another one. And I started over, gave it another chance at it. And now I'm kind of enjoying it again. So, once it hits live, probably, usually after PTR ends, it's usually
if you like that sort of thing.
4 to 6 weeks, I think, is when it'll kick in. So, so in here, okay, so, like, now it has 646 armor. So like right here, lightning resistance has 227 lightning resistance. So you're not really getting percentages anymore. You're getting just base numbers. So like there, 329 poison resistance, and then I got my diamond in there, which gives me another 65 resistance to all elements. Yeah, attack, power, and toughness. So here's what they were changing. Strength still kind of does the same thing. Like all these stats still do the same for your class. But, so like when we go over here to our tempering, this is what I was saying, is like, let's throw this on here. So I got defense and utility. So if I go in defense, now I can go down and pick whatever one I want, all the way down through these lists of things, and then apply them accordingly. I had a sneeze coming. So that's what's kind of cool. I can pick the one I want without feeling like, you know, because you could only roll them so many times. You can only roll it so many times before it would, what they call brick. Well, here, now you're not going to brick the item. So like masterworking, for instance. So now you have a quality of 20. And you still have to get this material called Ogdicite. And it tells you Nightmare Dungeons, Infernal Hordes, Undercities. That's where you get that material. This, you usually get it from salvaging, or you get it out in the world. And then the same thing with this one. This you don't normally find in the world, but you will get from salvaging. And one of the things that I've ran into, what I was trying to do, is I got this item dropped early. It's at level 60, but I got it like way early, so I had to hold on to it. And I was playing on my sorcerer, which is why it has intelligence on it. But what's nice now is I can take that item and put strength on it. So even if you find an item on another class, but you're like, oh, I want to use that on my other one, because it's like when an enemy falls below 35% life while afflicted with any of my damage over time effects, an explosion occurs every 7 seconds, dealing that damage for each element they're afflicted by. Let's see, each element. Well, I don't know if bleeding is an element, but either way, I was like, oh, because usually like fire or, you know, poison or whatever, those are your elements. Anyway. And then these are the runes you can get. And then, lo and behold, we got Mother's Embrace. But anyway, let's see if there's a Helltide. Obviously, there's no Helltide going. So here's where you got Asmodan's down here. He's like a boss, but this is where you get him. So normally throughout the game, you'll get boss like here's a world boss. So they'll spawn different times in different places. This is specifically right here. And then here's like how this season journey is going to go. So you'll start off at, you know, tier 1, and normally what they would do is you'd have to hit, like say there was 5 things to do, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Normally they'd say, well, complete 6 out of 8 or whatever to go to the next level. What they've done this time around is you go here, and in order to advance to tier 2, you have to do these. They're bringing back the capstone dungeons, if you will. So you just go to the capstone dungeon. So you could go without completing any of these rewards. You'd be like, I'm going to go straight to here. I mean, most likely you will complete some of these. But let's, for instance, you could go here and go, I'm going to go here. It'll tell you exactly where it is. Travel to it and fight it. If you beat it, boom, now you're on rank 2. And that's how you'll advance that season journey. But because normally what they would do is like, let's say, like here it'll put a limitation. Well, you got to be on Torment 1 to be able to get this reward. And here, complete Pit 30 to unlock rank 5. See, it's telling you like this is Pit tier 15, so that's how you would get that. So on and so on. And so here's like these are your skill points. So now you're going to start unlocking your skill points through the season journey. So that might be, you know, depending on how good of a player you are or how comfortable you feel, you may not get all your skill points. But it's not going to prevent you, once you hit level 60, to get into your paragons. But it still means that I could go back and add more points if I keep going through the season journey, that I could go back and add more points to things and unlock more stuff. So, oh, and sorry, here's the so the way they've done it this time around is you get these divine gifts. Oh yeah, I'll show you. So you go to, like, you'll unlock this heavenly forge thing, which I haven't messed with this yet because I haven't got the best gear yet. But you want to save this particular mechanic. It's got this forge right here. So this forge is going to go forth and slay us for evil. So I'm not there yet. Basically, you would take an item that you get. I don't even know how far into the journey you gotta do. But like most of the time, we have these things you do, the season journey, or a seasonal thing. And you just gotta gather these points to unlock the new stuff. And then you come to him, unlock the next tier thing, or whatever that is, and then go from there. But this has its own little section, so you'll have your stash, you'll have the Tree of Whispers here, you'll have your blacksmith, you've got your occultist.
See some steel you need?
And then you have your junior person over here. So you don't have all of the things, but you have the core things that you need. And
good business. Good business.
Let's go show you. Hopefully a Helltide just kicked in or something. And we'll do that. There we go. So a Helltide popped in down here. So this is like, we'll replace the, forgot her name. The Devil Woman girl. So what we're going to do is we're going to teleport to here. Pin that down. Here. Get down in that Helltide. Kind of show you the difference between the two. So I got another town. The thing that did here is my but as you can see, I'm not throwing all the dust devils in the air anymore. Aspect where it pulls enemies to me. So it's kind of been a blessing and a curse. It's like, oh, it's cool now. All the way across the map, I can pull them to me, and then I can ground stomp, which pulls them. So kind of that will give me a while.
Surprise cutting.
Poisonish. Cloud.
Get that.
Like a reddish color. I'm on expert right now. I have to be a certain hit level to unlock this. But like I said, I'm not too worried because once this is if you watch your health sometimes. Pardon me, folks. Just passing through. Just passing through.
I'm a fool.
Favor thing is. I didn't really discuss those powers either. Sorry about that. So let's go in here and show you. Now I unlocked that. So these powers, you get, there's a total of 8. Put 4 in here, 4 out there. You don't have to just use whatever you want. You can use them all. But what they do is you've got the purified and the corrupted. Your purifieds are in the middle, and your corrupteds are on the edge. And each one, they look like puzzle pieces. So you can put those particular pieces in there, so you can't just, throw them wherever you want. So this being a divine gift, you can look at that shape. That's this shape right here. So if you click it, it's going to tell you, well, pretty foolproof. Okay, well, I've already got refill a healing potion every 20 seconds. We only get 4 potions now instead of 10, but they'll refill on their own slowly over time, or you can pick them up, in the world if you're running low. So the last one I need is this, so I can either fortify for 1% of max life, or become unstoppable. Most likely I'm going to take that one. Okay. And then how these rank up is what you do. This one is for the pit. So in order to level this up, I need to run the pit. There, earned by battling Lyle in the pit, earned by battling Dario in Helltides, earned by battling Asmodean, so on and so on. And then what it'll tell you in each one, it says reward its chance for an extra upgrade in the pit doubled while purified. So let's say I just had it sitting down here and not equipped. Well, I would gain it, but if I keep it purified, I double it. So that's the benefit of having them purified. Nothing for being corrupted, as far as it says. So now I've got all 4 of my purifieds. But if I wanted to, like this one, the corrupted part hangs a durability more often and have a 100% chance to shatter my barriers or fortify life with their attacks. So the corrupted part of it is the challenge. The purified part is ease. And I did end up getting 2 points. I think I was going for this one. Paragon boards and such, the whole thing. So, got some of that stuff. Got a sword. Some of these. So what does this helm do for me? So yeah, you can see like the armor went from 646 to 1125 if I upgrade to this new helmet, which I do need to do. Because I'm 431, now we're up to 750, and all that kind of stuff. So. But there's only one more day, it's not going to matter. But like down here, this is the berserk thing that's constantly going. So I'm always doing damage, motion, all that kind of stuff. So there's no like special armors. Special...
Ready for a massacre.
Any type of equipment. There's no special, like a chaos armor. There's nothing like that coming this time around. I think they've changed some of the abilities because, like I said, my stomp ability changed, where it's doing what Diablo 3 did, where when you stomped, you pull, generate 60 fury and pulls in enemies, which is the next one. So it's not like I can skip over that, so I get that. Whereas in season 10 it just did more damage or something like that. It doesn't pull in enemies, so I'd have to look at that again. But anyway, so there you go. That's kind of giving you a rundown of the gist of what's going on with the seasonal stuff. And yeah, I mean, I'm enjoying it pretty much. And then I got the same thing on here, my earthquake and my challenging shout. So I found those two worked out pretty well. Kind of one of those, like, for the most part I stick to a build that I enjoy. Every once in a while I'll go out there and I'll test something and try something different. And it's usually when I'm like playing one like say I play this barbarian, and I'm like, oh, let me try a different version of a barbarian. I'll try different setup and skills to try to run them different, get it in playstyle. But sorcerer is another class that I really enjoy playing. I really want to get into the rogue or assassin. I just really can't get into it. But anyway, that's me. So, if you guys play Diablo 4 and you don't really get to see the PTR stuff because you play on a console, well, then here's a kind of a look on it. You can always look up the info as well. And then for those that have played Diablo 4 and just kind of play it for a little bit and want to come back each time the season, well, here's a preview of what the season's going to be. And so hope you folks are having a good day out there, and catch you in the next one.